It happened 3 years ago. I was in Washington for a short corporate training trip. Just 2 days, so I decided to stay at a cheap old hotel. It was around 11:30 p.m. when I arrived. The girl at the reception smiled and said, "Sir, all the rooms are booked, except one, room number 13. I laughed and said, "People still believe in that number being unlucky?" She paused for a moment and gave me the key with a strange smile, but there was something in that smile. Like she didn't really want me to take that room. The room was on the 3rd floor. It smelled damp. The carpet was worn out, and there was a long mirror directly facing the door. I dropped my bag, took off my shoes, and opened my suitcase. Everything seemed normal until I closed the door. The air instantly changed. It wasn't cold, but breathing suddenly felt heavy, like the room itself was pressing on my chest. I turned on the TV, but the static was mixed with strange muffled voices. Every channel had the same weird background hum. I finally turned it off. The light was dim, so I switched on the bedside lamp and lay down. But as soon as the lamp lit up, something moved in the mirror. I looked straight at it. My reflection, but not quite mine. For a split second, the eyes staring back were someone else's. I shook my head. "I'm just tired. That's all," I told myself and pulled the blanket up. It was around 2 a.m. when my phone rang. The screen said, "Unknown caller." I answered. Silence. Just breathing. "Hello, who's this?" Nothing. I hung up. A few seconds later, it rang again. This time, a faint woman's voice whispered, "Room 13 isn't safe." I froze. "Who are you? Is this some kind of joke?" But the line was dead. My heart was pounding. I checked the door. Locked. Then went to the window. Rain was pouring hard outside, but when I pulled the curtain back, a shadow, just a flicker, passed by. I shut the window tight. The room now felt colder than ever. I turned off the lamp to try to sleep. Darkness swallowed the room. Only the sound of rain and the low hum of the air conditioner. Then, whispering and from under the bed, I leaned closer. Couldn't make out words, just soft, low murmuring, like someone talking to themselves. I switched the lamp back on. Silence. I bent down. Nothing. Just dust and the old wooden floorboards. I laughed nervously. God, I'm losing it. But then, a faint creak. The door. I turned toward it. It was half open. I clearly remembered locking it. How could it be open? Heart racing, I stepped closer. The carpet under my feet felt damp. When I reached the door, a cold gust of air hit me. The hallway was empty, but there were wet footprints, small ones like those of a child, leading into my room. I quickly shut the door, and when I turned back, someone was standing in the mirror, not behind me, but visible only in the reflection. A tall, shadow-like figure. I stepped back slowly, my breath trembling. "Who are you?" I whispered. No reply. The figure inched closer and closer. Then suddenly, the lights went out. Complete darkness. I grabbed my phone, trying to turn on the flashlight, but the screen went black by itself. Only breathing, heavy, close, but not mine. Then, a voice whispered right beside my ear, "This room is mine." I jumped, ready to scream, but something cold grabbed my shoulder. Ice-cold fingers. I spun around. Nothing. The room was empty. I ran to the door, shaking it hard. It wouldn't open. It was like someone had locked it from the outside. I shouted, "Somebody! Open the door!" No answer. Suddenly, the TV flicked on by itself. Static. Then an image, grainy, flickering, of me sitting on the bed, in that exact room. But behind me, in the reflection, the shadow figure. I turned around, nothing, yet on the screen. The figure was right behind me. Blood splattered across the TV screen. A voice hissed, "You shouldn't have stayed." The next thing I remember, I was lying in the hotel lobby. It was around 7 a.m. The manager was standing over me, and a couple of police officers were asking questions. "Sir, what were you doing in room number 13? I said, "What do you mean? I stayed there last night." "You gave me the key." The manager looked confused. "Sir, that room's been locked for 10 years. No one stays there. The last guest who did was found dead the next morning. My blood ran cold. I shouted, "No! I slept there. It was open." But they said the key had been sealed in the drawer for years. I went upstairs myself. The door to room 13 was shut tight, padlocked and chained. But from underneath, a faint draft was blowing out, like someone inside was still breathing. Even today, whenever I stay at a hotel, I always check the number on the key. And if it says 13, I walk away without a word, because I know now that that room is never really empty. And maybe it never was, so if you ever find yourself alone in a hotel at night, and they hand you the key to room number 13, remember, some doors are meant to stay closed. This was tonight's story. If you liked it, subscribe to Hauntra TV, where every night, another door opens just for you.